Okay, welcome back to the Mental Toughness Podcast.org. I'm your host, Steve Siebold, and I want to thank you guys for joining us once again. This is actually going to be the final podcast of the Mental Toughness Podcast, and here's why. It's very exciting news. We're merging with another podcast called the Personal Development Podcast, which of course will mental toughness will be a part of that, as well as other topics. We're going to have guests on in personal development, including psychologists, psychological experts, all kinds of different people that are part psychology, part philosophy, part personal development. We're going to have everything under the sun personal development in the Personal Development Podcast. And so we're merging, starting with our next episode. And I ask you to sign up for this podcast because it's going to be very special. It's the podcast for the official podcast of the International Personal Development Association. And the website to sign up is IPDA.org, IPDA.org. You can sign up. It's all free. And not only can you get the podcast at this association for free, but you can become part of the community. The association launched about 4.5 weeks ago, and we have over 400 members around the world. There's going to be, our goal is to have 1 million members in the next 3 years. We think that's very doable. We have leaders in personal development from all over the world. I think we're in 8 countries already, and we plan on being probably in 30 or 40 countries around the world where we have leaders on as guests. We're going to interview all kinds of top people. It's going to be dynamite. And so we're excited to merge the Mental Toughness Podcast into Personal Development Podcast. But on this site, you can be part of the community. You can network with people for free. You get to be a member of the Chamber, which is the part of the website on the association website where you can see different kinds of speakers and all different speakers and thought leaders that we post once a week on there, and just great stuff all around. And also, just by chance, for those of you that are interested in becoming a speaker, author, or coach, and I know there are a lot of you that coach mental toughness, and that's why if you listen to this podcast, you might want to jump in because the association is offering a very, very low price training for world-class certification of coaches, speakers, and authors through the International Personal Development Association. So there's a way to get training, way to get certified as a coach, speaker, and author for about half of the price of a regular commercial enterprise. So you might want to check that out. Again, the website is IPDAR.org, IPDAR.org. So on this final podcast, for mental toughness at least, moving into personal development, I want you to, for the coaches, I want to kind of address the coaches here for a second and ask you to, as you're coaching people, to broaden their scope of education when it comes to the psychology of performance. Mental toughness, of course, is a part of that. It's a big part of it, I think, because of its focus, because of its power, and so many its clarity and so many other things. But this is why I'm excited about merging with the Personal Development Podcast, because there's more to psychological performance than just mental toughness. And especially when you're coaching people, you want someone to be a very well-rounded person in terms of philosophy, psychology, all the things really that go along with personal development. And that includes just about everything you can imagine, everything under the sun, including, the way they're eating. And we're going to have all kinds of experts on from around the world, again, in high performance. And it's exciting because when you're coaching someone and you can offer them a more well-rounded education, let's say, coaching experience, well, then they tend to bring success into each one of those areas. And like my friend Brian Tracy likes to say, everything affects everything. When you eat better, you exercise better. When you exercise, you eat better. When you think clearer, you make more money. When you make more money, you feel different. It's just everything is connected. And especially psychologically. And so that's why we're excited because, again, mental toughness is a very narrow topic. And, of course, I've talked about this and written about it for 30 years around the world. And I absolutely love it. And we're gonna talk specifically about mental toughness in some of the podcasts, the personal development podcasts, but we're gonna broaden it. And I think that's when, for the coaches out there who are listening to this, and the speakers, really, if you're a coach, you should be speaking anyway. And if you're a coach, I think you should be writing too. And if you're not a great writer, get a ghostwriter, get someone to help you with the writing. That's going to be part of the process. But the bottom line is that you're going to be able to offer a lot more to people when it's more personal. You're building a more well-rounded client, performer, you might call the person. And but through the personal development approach. And that's why I'm so excited about this, because this association, there's never been a major personal development association, especially an international association. It's never been done. There's hundreds of millions of people that believe in personal development worldwide. Evidence of that is the movie The Secret. I was not in the movie The Secret. I was in the sequel, which was called Beyond the Secret. And I think 3 or 4 people saw that movie, and I think one of them was my mother, and I think she asked for a refund. So you can get an idea of how good that movie was. I don't think it was a great movie. I didn't think it was a good movie when we were shooting it. Bob Proctor, who was also in the movie, didn't think it was good. We talked about that. But they tried to basically recreate The Secret, and they really didn't work. The Secret was good on its own. But they say, going back to the movie results, they say 500 million people. Half a billion people watched that movie. And I believe that that's probably true at some level. It's somewhere in that neighborhood. So you got to figure that if 500 million people watch that movie, there's probably 500 million people that are interested in personal development at some level. So there's all these people out there worldwide, especially in the Western world, that believe in personal development, believe it makes a difference in their lives. And so they've never been brought together. And of course, the world was a different place before social media and before technology just changed everything. We were isolated. We did different things. The big thing was making a long distance phone call, back in the day. And what you did was you watched your watch or your clock when you did it, because it would cost a fortune, and you'd get a long distance bill at the end of the month, and it would curl your hair. So now it's, of course, different. You send a message to someone, it goes around the world in 30 seconds. I mean, it's just, it's unbelievable what's happening. So this is the time. And that's why we're excited about this launch of this International Personal Development Association, because we really believe that we can cover the spectrum in this association, all the way from, on the one side of the spectrum, the thing that's probably the most noble thing to do that you can do in life, and that's reduce human suffering. I really believe personally that personal development has the ability to reduce human suffering. I don't think it's the only way, but I think it's one of the ways. The suicide rates, the depression rates are just soaring around the world. I did a podcast with a clinical psychologist the other day, and we were talking about this offline, about how half of the United States is on antidepressants. I mean, it's just unbelievable. The richest country in the world. And people are really down because of what's going on. And maybe it's going to last for a long time. Maybe it's going to last forever. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But we feel like the dissemination of personal development quotes and ideas and philosophies and all the things that encompass personal development, if people that are outside of this movement really were able to have exposure to these kinds of things, I think they would become fans of it. I think it would change their life, because it's changed our lives. And there's hundreds of millions of us out there. But the truth of it is, most of the world doesn't even know what personal development is. We live in a little bubble, and maybe it's a big bubble, but they've never been grouped together, and that's what we're doing with this association. We believe there will be millions of people in this association over the next 5 to 7 years. I don't have really any doubt about that. There's so many people out there, and the need is so great. So just to wrap this up, I hope the coaches, especially the coaches, the speakers, the authors, will embrace this association. I hope you'll join the podcast. It's all free. Again, if you want world-class training, you're going to be able to, through the association, because it's an association, you're going to get that training online for about half price. And so it's fantastic. We call that the training vault, and you have to be an ambassador member of the association. Regular membership is free. Ambassador membership is $47 a month, and it should be about double that probably. But since it's an association, the price is much lower. So you can become certified as a personal development professional through the International Personal Development Association. And if you're a coach and speaker, author, all that, or any one of the combination of the three, you want to be certified. That gives you credibility that you can't buy. So check it out. We hope, again, look for the podcast on the website as well. We're ramping it up. It's going to be fantastic. We're going to, like I said, we're going to have guests from all over and high performers from all over. It's going to be phenomenal. So go to the website, www.ipdar.org, www.ipdar.org, and that's the International Personal Development Association. And the R stands for revolution, because we believe it's a revolution. It's time to make changes in people's psychology all over the world, and we think we're the association that can facilitate that. So let me wrap up the show by saying thank you so much for watching this podcast or listening to the podcast, or both, whichever you do. And I hope you'll join us, move in our merger over to the Personal Development Podcast, because I think we can take what we did here at the Mental Toughness Podcast and expand it tremendously with more of a broad approach, as I've said, with all things personal development. So with that, thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the Personal Development Podcast.